Hi everyone, this is Shantae, aka Shanteezy on Twitter and Instagram, or just Shantae Berry. This is another episode of my online show called hashtag Shantae's Analysis. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram, or I am Shanteezy, or you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Shantae Berry. So I'm here with today's analysis. First, I'm going to start off with COVID because COVID, like I said, is always important. So here we are. And I'm going to read from two sites. I'm going to read from the Johns Hopkins University Medicine website. And also for the states, I'm reading from the New York Times COVID map, which you can subscribe for free, only for COVID only. So first, I'm going to go with the Johns Hopkins website. So global confirmed cases around 190 countries, or 191, keep forgetting the count. The global confirmed cases as follows: 64,469,705. The global death toll is at 1,492,029. U.S. confirmed cases as follows. We have the highest cases, of course, is 13,919,431, and the U.S. death toll is 273,368, and it was at 272, I think, yesterday, or 270. But we had over 200,000 new cases of COVID. We set the record for today. Dr. Fauci did predict this back in the summertime, that in this second wave that is happening, we will see more than 100,000 cases per day. And he's right. We're seeing it now. Different states are taking different measures, but I don't know if those measures will ease the rising cases of COVID-19. They said there is a vaccine on the way, but the UK seemed like they're on the right track with their vaccine. Unfortunately, the United States is a different story. And we all know our leadership is absent right now. Our current leadership, the outgoing leadership, is out. Now I want to focus my attention to the New York Times COVID map. Which is the states, which I'm going to read. So here it is. Texas, highest, almost at 1.3. They're at 1.293. Well, I should say 1,293,160. California, 1,270,382. Florida, 1,018,152. They had a 10,000 new cases today because yesterday was at 1,008,000. Illinois, 750,208. New York, 669,016. Georgia, 464,414. Ohio, 437,928. Wisconsin, 420,930. Michigan, 402,205. And Pennsylvania, 381,342. And there's other states like Tennessee, 375,764. You have Indiana, which moved past New Jersey at 353,270. You have Arizona at 342,925. Minnesota, who is seeing rising crazy cases at 327,536. Iowa, 234,814. You have Oklahoma at 202,341. You have Utah, 202,220. Kansas, 164,775. So like all of these states are seeing rising cases. And of course, North Dakota, I keep going back, 82,023. Keep in mind, they have 884,000 people in their state. And they have one of the highest infection rates of COVID-19. So let's get to that data, because I think that is relevant and that's important. As of today, South Dakota is now the third largest, highest infection rates at 41. No, yeah, 41. Yeah, they're third, 41.1. They have 448 new cases today. Idaho is almost at 50% of the positivity rate, and they had over 1,000, well, almost 2,000 new cases. Iowa, 43.4. So all of these Rust Belt states are seeing astronomical cases. And what strikes me with South Dakota, the governor had the nerve to retweet Joe Biden's tweet on reshaping and rebuilding America, but she doesn't have a mask mandate implemented, and she's letting the indigenous people in her community suffer from this virus. Are you freaking kidding me? You have all the time in the world to go on Twitter, but not implement a mask mandate order or any social distancing measures. No, because you don't give a damn. Now, when I go to my state, the state of New York, the Empire State, the infection rate is at 4% today. We had our daily cases is over 7,000, but for every 1,000 person is 8.9. So what does that tell you about New York numbers? New York numbers is we're 19 million people versus South Dakota's 884,000 people. We have 10 times more the people that she has, and our infection rate is under 5%. There's a disconnect. Maybe it's competent leadership. But then again, my governor used to be the secretary of HUD many years ago. So crisis management is always a secretary of, it's always like a HUD secretary thing. That crisis management is Andrew Cuomo. So there you have it. But the Republicans, Addison Mitchell McConnell Jr., also known as Moscow Mitch, tweeted, I guess a reporter tweeted this today, so I have to share it in some form. So the Republicans, they have the offsets, the Title I. The provision will rescind all unused money from lending facilities, allowing those funds to be used for other important purposes. Like what? Pat Toomey's proposal is the provision would ensure the emergency authority to terminate at the end of the year and cannot be restarted. Redirect unobligated CARES Act fund reproposes $140 billion unspent CARES money to small business funding. But according to NBC News, Jared Kushner's company and Donald Trump's company, which he have not divested from, were the main beneficiaries of the PPP loans. But I thought they had money. I always knew they were broke. That's why I always listen to New Yorkers. They say listen to Black people, but Black New Yorkers particularly know about the motherfucking Trumps and the Kushners and how sneaky and dirty and disgusting and how crooked they are. I mean, for crying out loud, Jared Kushner's father was in jail. I don't know if he's still in jail. And guess who sent him to jail? Chris Christie. Just saying. When it comes to COVID liability relief, the Safe to Work Act promotes reopening the economy and schools and helps fight the coronavirus. But you're not explaining how you're going to fight the coronavirus, how you're going to implement social distancing. It's nowhere here it says social distancing. It includes limitations of COVID-related personal injury, claims against businesses, that's protecting the corporations. COVID-related medical malpractices claims, expansion of PrEP to cover additional countermeasures and protections from liability under labor and employment laws for businesses to fight COVID. So this thing is 5 pages. I will send a tweet out tonight. But overall, this is not combating COVID. This is not telling us how you will safely reopen the economy, how you will follow the science, the data, and the metrics of this virus. Keeping the American people safe. When Donald Trump was downplaying this virus and other QAnon people, the Republican senators, along with the Republican House members, were dead silent. So therefore, they're not pro-life, as I said. They're like pro-sickness. I don't care about your life. I care about the baby inside of you. They're pro-life, selective pro-lifers. That's what I said. And that's clear and evident. But there will be more rising cases until Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are inaugurated and installed in their positions. And that's where the real work really begins. And they're going to have an uphill battle. That's why the Senate is important. And that's why these progressives need to stop beefing with the former president of the United States. So, of course, he had a interview, a Snapchat show. And I think I'll play the glimpse of it. And here we go.
The police department so that everybody's being treated fairly. Divert young people from getting into crime. And if there's a homeless guy, maybe we send a mental health worker there instead of an armed unit that could end up resulting in a tragedy. Suddenly, a whole bunch of folks who might not otherwise listen to you are listening to you. So the key is deciding, do you want to actually get something done, or do you want to feel good among the people you already agree with?
Okay. So I know the white voters in the purple and red districts were not going to vote for Democrats. I understand that argument. I understand why some people are upset about that comment. But everything else in that conversation, President Obama wasn't wrong about. I mean, the slogan behind, and I'm going to read the definition again because I did an Instagram live. And so here it is. To defund, which is a verb, is to prevent from continuing to receive funds. Defunding the police, while others have misconstrued, misinterpreted for abolishing the police, the actual meaning behind defund the police is reducing police department budgets and redistributing those funds towards essential social services that are often underfunded, such as housing, education, unemployment, mental health services, etc. So when the conversation of defund the police is explained, it's explained to redirect those funds, but also reform the police. And who explained it very well is then Senator Kamala Harris before she became the VP nominee. And this was explained so well to the point where progressives should have took Kamala Harris's advice when explaining what defund the police means. So here we are.
now are calling for a defunding of the police. The Minneapolis City Council just agreed on a bill on this. Right before I came to tape the show, there was a clip on CNN from a Minneapolis City Councilwoman who said, quote, "It's a place of privilege if someone breaking into your home wants to call the police." This is gaining a lot of steam. Nancy Pelosi this morning just refused to answer if she would support defunding the police. I just want to know from you, do you support defunding and removing police from American communities? And if not, why do you think there's such a hard time being differentiated right now between defunding and reforming police departments?
So, Megan, I think that a big part of this conversation really is about reimagining how we do public safety in America, which I support, which is this. We have confused the idea that to achieve safety, you put more cops on the street, instead of understanding to achieve safe and healthy communities, you put more resources into the public education system of those communities, into affordable housing, into home ownership, into access to capital for small businesses, access to healthcare regardless of how much money people have. That's how you achieve safe and healthy communities. And so we really do need to understand and reimagine what and how we can actually make and help make communities safe. Because here's the bottom line. If you contrast, many communities which have a heavy presence of police to middle and upper middle class suburbs in America, you will not see that presence of police. But what you will see families who have an income that allows them to get through the end of the month. You will see good public schools. You will see people who have access to health care and can afford it. You will see people who have jobs. And so this has to be the conversation, which is how are we going to be smart in achieving what should be our collective goal, which is that all communities are safe, and knowing that safe communities are usually safe because they are healthy because of a number of things, including the economy, including education, including access to healthcare. And that's how I think about this. In many cities in America, over 1/3 of their city budget goes to police. So we have to have this conversation. What are we doing? What about the money going to social services? What about the money going to helping people with job training? What about helping with the mental health issues that communities are being plagued with, for which we're putting no resources? And here's the other thing. When I talk to law enforcement, they know that they don't want to be, nor are they skilled to be the ones who are responding to someone with mental illness or substance abuse or the homeless population. But in many cities, that's what's happening, because we are not directing those resources, those public resources, to where they need to go, which is addressing mental health, homelessness, substance abuse, so that we don't have to have a police response because we are smarter.
Senator, I hear you loud and clear, and I don't think there's any rational American right now who doesn't think that we need to take a cold, hard look at reforming our police. But there was a video that went viral over the weekend of the mayor of Minneapolis being yelled at, saying, yes or no question, are you for defunding the police? So I'm going to ask the same question the protesters asked him. Are you for defunding the police?
How are you defining defund the police?
Well, I'm not for anything remotely for that, so I would ask the protesters the same thing. But I assume and again, this is something that is new to me, I assume it's removing police, and as Congresswoman Ilhan Omar said, bringing in a whole new way of governing and a law and order into a community. And my understanding, again, this is something that has just come into my understanding recently, is that you would not have police officers, like this Minneapolis City Councilwoman said, that I would be a place of privilege if someone broke into my home and I wanted to call the police.
So, again, we need to reimagine how we are achieving public safety in America. And to have cities where 1/3 of their entire budget is going to policing, but yet there is a dire need in those same cities for mental health resources, for resources going into public schools, for resources going into job training and job creation. Come on, we have to be honest about this, that there is actually not a consensus around this, because if there were, we would actually see smarter distribution of resources in our country. To address the issues that need to be addressed. Yeah.
Class was in session, and I remember watching that segment, that particular segment of Kamala Harris breaking down what defund the police means without saying defund the police. Even though the term defund the police, I think, is a good term, but it's a good term if somebody like Kamala Harris or even Barbara Lee, the two most progressive women, I believe, in Congress, besides some of the other ones, who explain what defund the police means without using the word defund the police, because they know defund the police is not a bad thing. My issue with people using defund the police, like the white progressives, they use it as of abolishing the police, like Ilhan Omar, who is not even a white progressive, but she is of their ilk. She's their general. They're black generals, as I said, who misinterpret the term defund the police as of getting rid, or not, I say get rid, but abolishing the police. That's not the term. And when Republicans heard that shit, they conflate that because they feel like it was an act of socialism, even though no one in this country don't really know what real socialism is. So when you hear Megan using that Republican talking point, that's the talking point that Donald Trump and the Republicans used, and they won them 10 more seats in the Senate and kept their majority for right now in the Senate, and won 10 more seats in the House. I misinterpreted that. But pretty much, it's not about removing the police. Black people want law enforcement. We do. We want it. But we want law enforcement that's not going to racially profile us, put their hands on us, or kill us, or lock us up for no fucking reason. We want law enforcement that is going to have a sense of community policing, that's going to acknowledge us as people, not animals. So when you hear Republicans talking that stupid shit, or when you hear the white leftists basically saying get rid of police like they come from privileged places, ignore that shit. Do research of your own. Do research of what community policing means. And I wish that these motherfucking progressives would have smoke for Mitchell McConnell. Well, all the progressives will have smoke for Mitch McConnell and not have all their energy towards the former president of the United States, who was making his own opinion as a private citizen. He's a private citizen. That's like if George Bush was making a statement. Y'all wouldn't have so much to say on that, but y'all have so much to say for the former president of the United States, the former African-American president of the United States at that. But y'all don't have smoke for the man who has the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act on his desk, who tried to come up with a pro-police bill in the Senate and have the black man, the only lone black GOP man, to be the face of that bill. Get the whole entire fuck out of here. But y'all got smoke for the CBC, the Democratic Party, for wearing kente cloth, presenting the Justice and Policing Act with then Senator and now VP-elect Kamala Harris. Really? Y'all got all that smoke for them? Dead ass? But y'all don't shoot your ammunitions at Addison Mitchell McConnell and Donald John Trump and the rest of the GOP Senate. There's a disconnect, a huge disconnect. Y'all need to refocus y'all energy on the GOP and not the motherfucking Democrats. Not the CBC. They didn't hurt you. They didn't do nothing to you. They try to pass a bill. Don't even have smoke for Jim Clyburn. Don't even fucking do it. Not even for fucking Hakeem Jeffries, who have not even criticized defund the police. Keep that same energy with Addison Mitchell McConnell and the Republicans. But I was going to talk about the Biden and Harris transition, which it needs to be more diversity. They need to have more meetings with folks, with Black leadership, but separate meetings, as they said. But I just don't want no stinking white progressives in there. I want qualified Black people, but qualified Black people in the positions that they should be in. And I'll just leave it as that. But until then, it's getting late and I got an early day. So you guys have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow.